In a San Francisco town hall meeting, leaders and community members discussed an uptick in violence against Asian elders with local authorities.
There's been a rise in anti-Asian hate crimes since the pandemic started and has not died down at all. And over the last week and a half in San Francisco, there's been 3 additional attacks on elderly Asian people.
ABC 7 reported one of those attacks. 70-year-old Mrs. Ren was violently robbed and injured multiple times by a teenager and 3 juveniles just over 2 weeks ago.
3 of the 4 individuals were under the age of 18, as young as 11 years old. And that is sad.
The DA's office announced that 3 of the 4 suspects have been arrested and the 18-year-old has been charged with a felony. They are still working on locating a 14-year-old. One attendee commented on values and morals in today's generation of youth.
It's crazy. Media is raising our children nowadays. You know, I see it with just parents giving their phone to their kid in a grocery store to have them watch YouTube. You know what I mean?
These attacks have sparked outcry from the local community demanding action from authorities. The town hall meeting was held on Tuesday and the house was packed at Victory Hall in Chinatown.
What we've seen over the last 2 years, and some of this started in 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic, is really, particularly in 2020 and 2021, was an increase in attacks against the Asian community.
The district attorney, members of the San Francisco Police Department, and Asian American community leaders were among the attendees. According to the U.S. Census in 2021, Asian Americans make up about 37% of San Francisco's population. One of the co-organizers of the event requested the chief to hire more police leaders from the Chinese community, which would help with following up on incidents with non-English speakers.
We've had enough of this. We need leaders who really care about Asian Americans, Chinese Americans who live here, and who more than someone who is from that community and who cares about protecting our people as a police officer, as a police leader. And so I think there are a lot of qualified people out there if we really look.
The district attorney answered questions from the public and says her team is working hard to solve the cases.
I think it's a sad state when we get to the point that our children are victimizing and assaulting who should be the most respected members of our society.
But not everyone thinks that the newly appointed DA is doing enough.
Send the message to these thugs. You come into San Francisco, we're going to throw the book at you, you're going to go to prison, and you're going to pay restitution. And as long as they get the book thrown at them, the message will be sent to the rest of their friends that we're not going to come to San Francisco to do these crimes because all these perpetrators are coming from outside of San Francisco.
A San Francisco supervisor in attendance talked about providing more funding to the police force. He also said that crime prevention starts with giving media exposure to arrests as much as the attack itself.
Because that ultimately is what's going to send a message to would-be attackers that it shouldn't be something you even think about in San Francisco. If you commit a hate crime or a hate incident in San Francisco, you're going to be caught, you're going to be prosecuted, and held accountable. That's why we have to send that message and be really vigilant about communicating that we're not going to tolerate this kind of violence here.
One attendee says she's been fighting actively since November 2021 to find the killers of Jasper Wu, a baby victim struck by a stray bullet while riding in his mom's car on the freeway.
Who was killed on November 6th, and his killing has been classified as a car accident according to the California Highway Patrol. And I just think that's devastating because the violence just absolutely needs to end.
The co-organizers said they were happy about the large turnout and community involvement, but they didn't feel anything concrete from the city's leadership and think there's still progress to be made. They may talk to the mayor and continue the momentum and next steps. Jason Blair, NTD News, San Francisco.